my friend.
Hey, Father Ben.
How are you? Today, Hunter Layton is going to be with us. Let me get over here, Hunter.
Sure.
And he has wanted to stop by.
I did.
And he's also one of the film crew. So, and I would say the director.
Whoa, that's a mighty title there.
But anyway, Hunter wanted to learn how to make a cobbler. So since I like blueberries, I suggested a blueberry cobbler. Now,
Good choice.
I don't think, tasted one of these, and I know you grow your own blueberries, so these probably aren't quite up to your standard.
It'll be fine.
But
Enough
it'll be
sugar
all
will
right.
make it taste good.
You got that right. It works every time. So this is an easy cobbler recipe. Well, before we get to that though, I wanted to talk more about Hunter real quick. Is where you're going to school. You're in college now.
I am in college.
He's a parishioner of St. Francis Episcopal Church, but he's in a college in North Atlanta.
Yes,
Right.
North Atlanta.
And what are you studying?
I'm doing computer science.
And what's that?
That is the study of how computers work, both on a hardware and software level.
Wonderful. So this is an easy cobbler recipe. You're essentially going to make the crust in the cobbler, if that makes sense. So the first thing we want to do is get an appropriate container, something like an 8x8, and that's close, and put a whole stick of butter in it. And we're going to melt that butter in the microwave.
Oof. I'm a little hands-on today, Ben.
That's all right. Okay, Hunter, let's put our aprons on.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you the Chateau wine tasting apron.
Ooh,
Prepared.
fancy.
And I'm going to take, what is this? The Episcopal Church Bread for the World apron. So, whole stick of butter in a pan that can either go into the oven to heat or into the microwave. This is microwavable. So I'm going to put it in the microwave.
All right.
And it doesn't take long to melt the butter. So, but while that's going, we can do what we've got here, the other ingredients. We got a 1.25 teaspoon of baking powder, a cup of unrefined sugar, a cup of flour, unbleached flour. You can use bleach, you can use refined sugar. These are just the things that we had. Then I'm only going to use a pinch of salt, and a pinch of salt is just a little shake of salt.
A little pinch.
And then we have a cup of milk. But now what I've done here is I've added a half a cup of milk and a half a cup of cream. To make a whole cup. So, and then we're going to mix the dry ingredients together, and then we're going to pour it all into the melted butter mixture, throw the fruit in, and then it'll cook.
All right.
So I hear the microwave is ready. The butter's nice and melted. So I'm going to let you do the ingredients. Here's some spoons.
Oh, thank
So
you.
it's all measured out. So the first thing you want to do in here is add the cup of flour. Okay. And then the cup of sugar. And then the baking powder. And sort of stir that up. Oh, let's add a pinch of salt too. I'm just going to do a shake of salt. This is an easy recipe. So you stir that up, and then you add a cup of milk to the dry ingredients. Stir it up. Then I'm going. The recipe calls for a cup of blueberries, but I like more. I like a lot of fruit. Okay, so then take that batter and pour on top of the butter, the melted butter, the stick of melted butter. And make sure you get as much batter out as you can. And sometimes in order to do that, I use one of these silicone spatulas.
Ah.
Yeah. You can scrape it all out with this.
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. Or do you cook?
Do I cook?
Yeah.
Yeah, I cook for myself. Dormitory life, sometimes you cook for yourself.
Do dorms have kitchens in them now?
Well,
When I went, we only ate in the student center.
I live in more of an apartment style, so I happen to have a kitchen.
Okay, good. So, who cleans up the kitchen?
Me and my roommate, whoever.
Oh, you have a
uses it.
kitchen for your own room.
Correct.
Oh, I thought it was like a kitchen for the floor. That's why I was asking who was responsible. Okay, I got you. Got you.
Gotta clean up after yourself.
Okay, that's right. So, let me just scrape a little bit more of this
Double
out.
check my work.
No, you're fine. I just like to put it all in there as much as I can.
Don't want to lose any of the goodness.
Don't mix this. Just leave it the way it is. Okay. Now, the recipe calls for a cup of fruit. So there's a cup of blueberries. Yeah, just dump them in.
Evenly spread,
Yeah,
man.
you're okay. And this is probably another half a cup. So just dump them in. I know computer science may be really exact, but in this particular Cobbler recipe, I think we'll be fine.
All right.
Okay.
It's got a little stem on it.
Oh, that just gives you extra flavor. So, okay. And then what we do is the oven is at 350 degrees. If you will slide it in there, watch the heat on your face.
All right. You want to show that?
And then we will cook that. Since we got a little bit more fruit, we're going to cook it for like 35 minutes. Okay, I'm going to set the timer. So we got 35 minutes for you to do all the dishes.
Perfect.
No, check. So Hunter, while the cobbler's cooking, I just wanted to, I haven't got to talk to you in a while. Hunter was in my youth group at St. Francis for ever since I've been there, and that was almost 6 years ago. But obviously he has moved forward in college. But so all my guests that come on the show, I always ask them, what you think about what we talked about, what I talked about, God. I'd like to do some God talk.
Want to do some God talk? All right.
First of all, let me just say, are you an atheist?
I'm not an atheist.
Okay.
I would classify myself though as agnostic.
Okay.
Because I'm not quite sure where I really stand on it. And I haven't completely thrown away my faith, mainly because I don't feel like God has necessarily done anything to me. But I don't feel like he's done anything to me, hence why I somewhat question him in my life and in the world in general. But a lot of what, at least from my perspective, I'm a little bit less driven towards the church as a whole. As I feel, regardless of what side you look at, there's a lot of hypocrisy in it, and I just don't think that's part of God's world. So
Hypocrisy in the church?
yeah, sure. I feel like there's lots of people that claim to say you should love everybody and be with everybody, but then you look at them and they don't do that. So I feel like it's a little
It's
a little against what they don't walk the walk.
I certainly hear you. I certainly hear what you're saying. I mean, the church is full of imperfect people.
Sure.
We need
Yep.
to remember that.
You do.
And but the church, we're called to love, and many times we come up short on that.
And yep, like you said, I recognize that we're not perfect,
Sure.
but sometimes I feel like you don't even see the effort being put forth behind it for some of the different groups.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but for this sake of this, our question, is there something in particular that you see that you think the church is doing that it shouldn't be doing, or the church is not doing that it should be doing?
I feel like depending on which church you go to, regardless of if it, and I think this is a poor choice on the church. I don't think you should have any political bearing, but if you look at some of the churches, it definitely feels like there's some political bearings. And so regardless of which one you go to, I feel like they don't like to take a look at the other side all the time. No, I'm not saying this is for every church. I'm sure there are some out there that do take the time to consider both sides, but I feel like there are lots that say, well, if you don't fall in line with what we believe, you can just go someplace else because we'd rather not try and understand and communicate with you.
So it's all about believing. I mean, a lot of people have been killed about what they believe or don't believe. And I have to quote Richard Rohr, and I'm probably misquoting him, but Richard Rohr is a well-known author now on Franciscan theology. And he's made that statement that for 2,000 years we've been killing people for what they believe, but we've never killed anybody that he's aware of for not doing what Christ told us to do, which was feed the poor, take care of the sick, and and nobody has ever been killed for not doing that. I mean, if you look at belief, I think the church is at a point now of where, and my bishop said this to me, that it's not so much what we believe now, it's what we do with what we say we believe. And I think for young men and women your age and the age of my film crew here, I think actions speak very loud, and belief, what you believe is what you believe. And what are you going to do with it? How are you going to make the world a better place? Am I?
And that definitely sticks with me personally. I think if you look back in the archives of St. Francis, at least, you'll find a sermon done by me that preaches exactly that message.
I remember
so
that.
I do strongly believe that is an important thing, and I don't know how much I really see that, and that's where a lot of my hardship with the church comes from, not necessarily with God himself.
I think the church being the people, not the buildings, is starting to realize that. I think all this hoopla about the church is dying, and I really believe the church is changing, and there will be people that will not come back to the church because somebody believes a certain way or whatever. But I think the remnant of the church will be about action and doing what Jesus told us to do, like in Luke's. In that Luke section, he didn't say you have to believe. He said the people that will be mine will be the ones that visited me when I was in prison, gave me food and clothes and water to drink. So I hear where you're coming from. The church has produced lots of atheists and agnostics, but I don't fault anyone for questioning, and I'm not for sure. I think that many of the people that I talk to that say they're atheists, and you're not one of them, you said agnostic, are atheists because they don't believe in this, what the dogma of the church, and they don't believe in a big white guy sitting on a cloud with a thunderbolt getting ready to strike somebody if they go an inch over the line. I mean, that's, yes, we're getting more mature, I think, in our faith. But in doing that, it can be scary for people. So. Well, thank you very much for that conversation.
You're welcome.
And I think the Cobbler will be out shortly.
Great.
Okay, Hunter. We've got just a few seconds
Ooh.
to this delicious blueberry cobbler. I've got some ice cream ready, and I've got 4 bowls out, one for each of us, and I thought that maybe we give some to the camera crew, but I don't know about that.
We're gonna share, Father Ben.
I don't know. Is that what they teach us?
Are you sure that it's just not 2 bowls for us?
I think that could be. It could be. We could have a bowl eating and a bowl in the oven warming for the next.
Oh, that's a good idea.
But I heard that one of the camera crew said that their little bellies were growling. Should we?
I think we'll let them have some.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Been actually about 45 minutes because we put so much extra fruit in. So here we go. Yum, yum. Okay, let's do this. Okay. Wow, look at all those blueberries. Mmm. Mmm. It's delicious.
Mmm.
It really is. We did a fantastic job. Okay. We'll let the film crew come in and clean up. Then they can have some cobbler. Thank you for being with us today. And Hunter, thank you so much. It's been great talking to you.
Thank you for having me.
I haven't got to talk to you for like almost 2 years at length. So it's been wonderful. And hopefully we'll do this again sometime. Bye.
Bye.